us, we're joined by political analyst Ralph Mathekga. Thank you for being with us. Ralph, what do you think about the minister's argument, firstly? One of the problems is that the company is linked to his former personal assistant and an associate, his former communications person. So the suspicion is that he requested people, he handpicked the winners, but he says he wasn't involved in the awarding of the tender. Would that be easy to verify?
Good evening, Francis, and good evening to viewers at home. I think this is very much disappointing. It appears that the minister believes that the fact that the department carried out an investigation and he was not directly involved in the awarding of the tender, he find it to be ground that exonerate him from fingers pointing at him. Because if you look at it, the minister has got responsibility to protect the public resources, being regular expenditure. That he was not directly involved, I think, is quite questionable, and I do think that question will further be asked about his integrity going forward. But another dimension of this is the situation where, Francis, people who were directly involved in the department were able just to walk out of the department through the door and come back with in the front door asking for a tender or bidding for a tender. That on its own create a conflict of interest, and that the minister knows those people also create a conflict of interest. We don't have to prove the direct involvement where the minister has been sitting in the tender to prove that a conflict of interest arises here.
But he says one of the women resigned from his office. He didn't know that she was involved in a tender then that the department awarded. I mean, if he didn't know, he didn't know. Again, can this be verified?
I mean, come on, Francis. I mean, this is a very thin explanation. I mean, it does not even need to be verified. I mean, someone who was involved, certainly, it will be clear that they are bidding for that. I mean, is the minister saying that he did not know about the awarding of this kind of contract in the department? The minister wants to say that perhaps it is the responsibility of the permanent staff at the department, that is the public servants at the department. I mean, that explanation doesn't hold at all. If the minister did not know on this kind of expenditure, in the height of corruption, President Ramaphosa, the head of the executive, having taken a position against corruption. I mean, the minister has just become the weakest link in the president's anti-corruption here.
Should he step down?
I mean, he should step down. I mean, the mayor, I mean, this is almost the same cases that we've seen in relation to Gauteng. And again, the investigation was carried out by the department. I want to believe that the relevant authorities outside the department will carry out further and much more credible investigation into this. Not to say that which has been carried out is not credible. But I think the minister really is no ground to stand on if people are saying he needs to step aside. And this is very serious. And this actually undermines government fight against the COVID. If we can tolerate this on a serious matter such as this, a sensitive matter such as this, what else then?
I think this raises bigger issues, and tell me if you agree, Ralph. Maybe are we being too dogmatic in a sense? I mean, think about it. The president appoints ministers. They are people he trusts, who he's worked with before. We're saying here that a minister is not allowed to do something like that, or perhaps it's about declaring and transparency, because he knew the track record of these people in question. I've also heard the argument that a small business should never have got this tender. It should have gone to a big business. But government, at the same time, pays a lot of lip service to supporting small businesses.
I mean, the idea that proper procedure was followed and people came through whatever platform, either as empowerment groups and so forth, have been able to get this tender. The minister is saying that it doesn't look into the day-to-day activities. Don't understand what is the meaning of accountability under this kind of context. I mean, there is that people need to understand. If someone comes back from the department, I know that that person is actually close to the minister and they are bidding for the tender. That on its own creates an environment where those who are giving these tenders might find themselves actually biased towards that person, given the authority the minister carries. That authority exists. The whole of conflict of interest, it also exists where someone is in a position of authority, and it will be presumed that if you do not act in line with their authority, you will be in trouble. It creates an untenable situation also for the public. 27. So the minister does not have an escape route. The normal standard report that I did not know, I don't sit on committee and so forth, that's just not enough, particularly in the moment where we're being crippled by corruption to this extent.
All right, thank you very much. That was political analyst Zweli Mkhize.